I would like now to say a few words about setting the scene for the theme of our conference, which of course is all about change. There's no doubt, of course, that the environment we work in, it's certainly changing. Some of the changes are challenging, some are very positive, and some, of course, are absolutely inevitable. The common factor is that we need to be able to confidently navigate this changing environment and maintain the values that underpin the very reason we exist. Whether that means meeting challenges by adapting or innovating, or by advocating to shape, influence and alter the direction of change, we need to do it. The one thing we certainly can't do as a sector is nothing. There's no room for business as usual. One element of change comes from our communities and the people we work with. These are changing both demographically and, of course, in their expectations. As you'll all know, our communities are ageing, and ageing Tasmania means changes to services. We'll provide different kinds of services and support to meet changing needs. Existing services will have to change and new services will have to emerge. We've already seen the nature of need in our community changing. As one example, many of you have observed the effect of workforce changes with an increase in the number of individuals and families who are often referred to as the working poor. These are people who are working but are not earning enough to get by. They're also generally not eligible for concessions. This is the result of increasing casualisation and underemployment in the Tasmanian workforce. Many of our key industries, including food and hospitality, retail, agriculture, forestry, fishing, arts and recreation, have casualisation rates of between 40 to 65%. This results in irregular and unreliable income and therefore increased vulnerability. We know we have to address unemployment in Tasmania, but of course we also have to address underemployment as a driver of disadvantage. The expectations of the people we work with are also changing. Increasingly, and often with our encouragement and support, service users are looking for more choice and to have a level of control over the services they receive. Members of the baby boomer generation are leading this change by demanding more choice in aged care and disability services. The community sector is also changing and appears to be taking two very different trajectories. Some sectors, notably disability and aged care, are needing to develop a more market-based approach in response to changing service models. Others, with shrinking government funding bases, are relying more heavily on philanthropy, donations and volunteers to deliver services that we consider as fundamental to our social safety net. Increased standards and accountability are also changing the sector. More is being demanded of our boards and organisations, with few resources provided to enable service providers to meet those demands. The recently released 2014 Community Index report by PricewaterhouseCoopers and the Centre for Social Impact describes the not-for-profit sector as the fastest growing part of the Australian economy. It details that the NFP sector has grown at nearly twice the rate of the mining sector over the past 6 years, and in 2012-13 turned over more than $100 billion nationally. The report reveals that despite this amazing growth, sector confidence is low. Sector leaders are pessimistic about their organisation's ability to meet the increasing need for their services in coming years, that is, their social purpose. A worrying finding was that overall sector confidence in Tasmania was not only the lowest of all states and territories, but was also significantly lower than in any other jurisdictions. Now, I do acknowledge the reality of pessimism in the sector and a lack of confidence in the face of seemingly ever-increasing demands and ever-decreasing resources. We certainly are doing it tough. I suspect that our sector feels more than a small degree of fatalism, a lack of control over our own destiny as we're buffeted by change and by the decisions of those in power. With Conservative governments at both state and federal levels, the approach of government to the sector is changing. Both governments have chosen to deliver harsh budgets in their first years, and both are reviewing and looking to fundamentally change their social support systems. Given this environment and the challenges it poses, and given that it's easy to feel somewhat besieged, it's timely for us to actively remember and remind each other that our sector is strong. Our sector represents and serves the Tasmanian community. Our sector has credibility and unique expertise. Our sector has values and is valuable, and it makes a significant contribution to the economy. We are not powerless. We can be a participant in shaping our own future. We must ensure that we claim and maintain our seat at the decision-makers' table. We know that if public and social policy is not evidence-based, long-term and future-focused, and doesn't consolidate individual capacity, social inclusion and community resilience, it will do much more harm than good. It will create and compound disadvantage. It will impose increasing costs on individuals, families, communities, and ultimately, of course, on governments. We know that ill-conceived public policy will cement the nation, and this state in particular, as a society divided into those who are doing very well and those who are left behind. As a sector, we must be active participants, not only in responding to a changing national and state environment, but also in shaping it as a fair and inclusive place to live. We must remember the value of our expertise and the depth of our experience and bring those to bear on future policy decisions and on developing innovative approaches to working with people and communities in need. So we have a great opportunity in the time we have together in the next 2 days to reflect on how we as a sector navigate our way in this changing environment and maintain the values for which we stand. I invite and encourage you all to make the most of this time together to listen, to discuss, debate, plan and connect as the strong, vibrant and committed community sector that we most certainly are.